So after years of waiting, Hollow Knight SILKSONG has finally been released, and these are my first impressions. Now I'll be honest, this is actually just going to be the first 40 minutes of my I played Hollow Knight SILKSONG, here's what happened video. A video that will come out however long it takes to get my first ending. Anyways, you know how it goes, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and if you really want to support the channel, I sell mouse pads and comfortable t-shirts on my Etsy page, link in the description below. Alright, let's get on with the video. So we open, not with the game itself, but with Steam crashing. Yeah, there were just so many people, myself included, and probably many of the people watching this included, just waiting for the game to release on Steam so that we could download it just the second it came out, except, you know, Steam crashed. And having a lack of patience for Steam to fix itself, I went to the Microsoft Store to download SILKSONG. And so I begin my SILKSONG journey. Ladies and gentlemen, after years of waiting, finally, I can say, welcome to Hollow Knight SILKSONG. They see your beauty so frail and fine. They see your peace woven of faith and toil. They forget your heart bound in slumber and servitude. And when you wake, they shall see your truth, a beast's nature bare to all. From Farloom's Folly by the Conductor Romeo. Who is Conductor Romeo? Who are these guys? Who are you and how on earth did you capture Hornet? They kind of remind me of the Godseeker a little bit. Oh! Your bindings have failed. The spider is free. Okay. Oh. Act what? Oh! Act 1, Huh? Huh? I thought Farloom was just like the Ooh. Oh, I am intrigued. Oh. I begin my journey by learning how to heal, and as it turns out, you actually heal in bulk instead of one mask at a time. I would then play with the controls a bit, and they were largely the same as the first game, save for one thing. Okay. So immediately, there is one singular difference between the controls of this game and the controls of Hollow Knight. I continue forward, and upon killing my first enemy, I pick up something called a shell shard, which feels more like a crafting material than a currency to me. Also, the movement and combat in this game just feels awesome. Fire! Fire! Okay, so she can grab onto ledges. Fire! 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 Oh, wait, I just remembered, this is this going to be like Hollow Knight? Are there going to be secrets about? This is... Oh! Ha ha ha! Ha 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 ha! I knew there was something! I knew there was something! Continuing into this luscious green moss grotto, I kill anything that moves and explore everything that I possibly can. Finding this green berry thing that I guess will be important later. Though as I press forward, it would turn out that that fall is having some lasting effects on Hornet. Are you alright there? Seems Hornet has been weakened. Oh, are we gonna see Hornet, like, have to battle with her, like, the, Okay, so I was thinking that because Hornet is, like, the daughter of, like, the Beast of Deepness, maybe she was battling some kind of, like, spider beast side of her or something. Continuing forward, I found this ledge that I couldn't get to, but then I remembered an old trick. Oh, wait. I know this one. I'm a Hollow Knight player. Theoretically, ha! So pressing forward and unable to obtain this other green fruit, Hornet has another fatigue attack, but then just perks right back up again. Strange. But then I also found my first bench, which will restore my health and serve as a respawn point should I perish. Now this ruined chapel seems to have been just long abandoned and overgrown with moss. Such moss that becomes the first boss! Oh, first boss? Moss Mother. Hello. Ow. Bonk, 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 bonk. Bonk, I say. Haha! What is this new threat? That is not infection. So what could it be? Who even knows at this point? Anyways, continuing forward, I make this little ascent where Hornet finally succumbs to her fatigue. When Hornet wakes up, we're introduced to this character. Figuring out that Hornet is an outsider, the old maid assumes Hornet to be yet another pilgrim trying to make their way to some kind of citadel. Hornet then explains that she was in fact brought to this place very much against her will, and upon describing her captors, the old maid thinks that maybe these might have been bugs from this very same citadel, veiled in the service of some kind of faith. With this knowledge, Hornet thinks that maybe she will take the journey to the Citadel after all, if nothing else than to find out why they tried to kidnap her to begin with. And so we are welcomed to Farloom, a holy yet haunted land. We are then also given our first main objective. This also tells me there's actually going to be a proper quest system this time around, which I personally think is just awesome. Going past the Chapel Maid, we are met with this beautiful scenery at the very edge of the mossy grotto. Entering the village of Bone Bottom. Now this place is chock full of actual pilgrims, with this little pilgrim being very pessimistic and saying that there are very few, if any, who actually have the strength to make it to the Citadel, because it is a very perilous journey. After resting on this here bench, I spot the local merchant, and it would seem that even the currency around here is based in faith, being this here little bead sort of things. Going past the village and further into this bony area, we stumble upon this little pilgrim trying to open this gate through the use of song and prayer, claiming that all things in this land will respond to song, even bone. Yeah, I don't got time for that. So taking this little path that goes up and over where the little pilgrim is and removing anything that so much as breathes in my direction, I accidentally explore my way into this little chasm where I am met with what I call a mini challenge. Oh! A challenge of combat, I see. Hiya! Hiya! Just bonk into each other. Ow. Oh, this guy hits hard. Hello there!
Deloria.
Hi, did you see her, Red Maiden? The great gate heard my song and it... Oh, come on! Going past the pilgrim, I find this chain of rosaries, which is the name of the currency around these parts, and use it to unlock this here bench. I would then enter a new area simply known as the Marrow, a land of fire and bone that sits at the very base of Farloom. Going to the right, I find a passage that I cannot progress through at this point in time, so I'll have to come back here later. So I would explore upward, going past these very annoying flying enemies. Also, can I just say that the movement in this game is just immaculate. It feels really good to parkour around as Hornet. I love it. Anyways, in my upwards exploration, I would end up going into this little side room where I would pick up my very first tool, which I assume to work kinda similarly to how you would use the charms in Hollow Nest. Although, the setup here is a bit different than what I'm used to. Up and over to the right, past these here spiky bugs, I found this here frayed rosary ring, which I immediately broke for its currency. Exploring downwards, I would end up locating a bench and a traveling caravan of fleas. And as it would turn out, by being fleas, they are able to take a prolonged rest here in the Marrow. From there, I'd explore up and left to encounter a very important character. So as it would turn out, that was a warrior's greeting, recognizing Hornet as a warrior even if she is just a child. Whereas Hornet, correcting the child thing, wonders about the corpses surrounding us. Turns out all the pilgrims past this point have lost their minds and are attacking pretty much anyone and anything. The traveler then reveals herself to be a navigator and is willing to do trade for her maps and other wares. And thank goodness for that, because my sense of direction is flipping abysmal. I start by getting the quill, which will allow me to update my maps, thus telling me where I have and have not been. And it is here that Chakra finally thinks to actually introduce herself. And lacking the rosary to get any of the other map stuff, I pressed forward. You guys saw that, right? Seems the pilgrims around these parts are being controlled by some kind of SILKSONG. I grabbed this here rosary before continuing on my way, and while I was traveling, I would end up killing more pilgrims which themselves dropped rosary upon death. I would then find a new bench, and after opening the gate next to it, I find that I have been led back to Chakra. With the new rosary from freshly killed pilgrims, I obtained the map to the Mosslands. Great, but there is still more that I need before I can actually properly navigate. So hopping to this upper area of the Mosslands called Mossholm, I would slay all the pilgrims I could possibly see and then get the map to the Marrow. Going back to Mossholm, I decided to explore further to the left, where I would end up jumping off of this ledge for some reason and falling all the way back down into Bone's Bottom. After climbing back up to Mossholm, I would kill some more pilgrims and finally get myself the compass, which would show me where on the map I was, finally allowing me to actually navigate. I would then head over to the right, where I found this poor beast trapped in silk. Let the games begin! But to no avail. So I continued to explore Mossholm until I stumbled upon a set of ruins that were very, very familiar. Daughter of a distant land, we who remain have waited long. Bind our... I accidentally clicked and didn't read that whole thing. What have we obtained? Silk Spear. Oh yeah. Oh! Say the thing. Say the thing. She didn't say the line. Oh, that is not what I meant to do. Ouch! Now, I will admit, I had a bit of a harder time with this boss fight than I probably should have, and this is simply due to my very headstrong, way of fighting, because I will rush in, I will try and do damage, but I won't have any real consideration for actually staying alive myself, which is a real learning curve in this game, because in Hollow Knight 1, you could actually heal yourself one mask at a time, but in SILKSONG, you could only heal in bulk, and you had to have a full thread wheel in order to heal. And it was this learning curve of not being able to heal as frequently as I'd like that led to me getting my tail kicked. Ouchies. But once I actually started to try and focus on actually, staying alive instead of dealing damage, go figure, I found far more success. Like, I'm gonna remember back on this, I'm gonna get good at this game, I'm gonna look at this fight, I'm like, how did I have this much trouble with this frickin' boss? I'm just gonna hang out over here. Or not. Ow. Why do you hit so hard? Oh, I beat it. Finally. Ooh, what have I gained? Hmm? Are we in Hornet's Psyche right now? Child Weaver. Arrived at last. I feel like I unlocked this slightly earlier than I was supposed to. We feel it! Come, child, witness our waking. Consumed the silk heart. Regain the power to regenerate silk within one's shell. So now, Hornet can passively generate silk, albeit slower than a snail's pace. The Bell Beast can also be now used as a means of fast travel. So, taking the Bell Beast back to Bone Bottom, I intended to do trade with the trader, except I am still not as financially secure as I would have liked. But then I also noticed what appears to be a quest board, and I decided to accept all of them, though I'll only explain each quest as I get around to actually doing them. Starting with the quest Bone Bottom Repairs, where you donate 200 shell shards. That's it, that's the whole quest, and I completed it immediately. I also saw Chakra sitting up here overlooking the town, and I decided to buy some bench pins off of her, which would allow me to actually locate the benches whenever I pull up my map. I also bought some shell markers, which I would place on my map manually. The idea was that I would use them to mark areas that I couldn't progress and would have to come back to later. After that, I decided to begin my first quest, called the Lost Flea's Promise, and to begin it, I had to go and talk to the head of the Flea Caravan. So using the Flea's bench pin as my waypoint, I was able to make my way back to them and begin talking to Flea Master Mushka. So Mushka tells of how in these dangerous times, fleas who would normally flock to the caravan are just stuck in their hidey holes, too scared to go out of here because they don't actually know how to get to the caravan. To which Hornet responds that if she happens upon any fleas upon her travel, she will send them the caravan's way. After that, I noticed I could now explore to the right of the Bell Beast Arena. Come on now. I feel like I have accomplished something. I do not know what the significance of this was. In my need to explore everything that I can, I decide to make my way upwards, as far upwards as I possibly can, going across these breakable platforms and taking out any enemies in front of me, and there were a lot up here. And it was actually here that I found my first flea. To the right of the flea I found this workshop area, but to actually get into it I had to make my way vertically, so I marked it for later. I would then continue exploring to the right, and I found this here pilgrim, which leads me to the quest of Pilgrim's Garb. Basically, should I happen upon a pilgrim and kill it, I would then have to loot its corpse for its veil, and I would have to do, I think, 12 of these? Anyways, continuing my exploration, after killing this pilgrim and taking its garbs, I decided to whack the big glowy thing. In hindsight, maybe I should have seen that coming. I will now take this opportunity to explain the death and respawn mechanics. Yes, I know I'm a bit late to this, better late than never. See, when Hornet dies, she loses all of her money and leaves behind a cocoon, respawning at the last bench you sat on. If you want to get your money back, you gotta go to where you died and break the cocoon. And if you die again before you can crack the cocoon, that cocoon will be lost forever, along with all the money inside of it. Anyways, entering inside the passage left behind by the glowing explodey thing, I find another glowing explodey thing, except this time I have the foresight to run away. Oh, son of a... It's fine. We're fine. And I've now obtained what I assume to be a weapon upgrade material. Continuing to explore, I find these flower things that I assume I'll be able to do something with, so I marked this area for later, and I'm embarrassed to say that I shortly after fell to a flying pilgrim. So after trekking back, cracking my cocoon, and exacting revenge, I found myself in the upper right corner of the marrow, where I would face my most challenging challenge yet. Who are you? So I would spend a hot minute fighting this guy, but because of how far I was from the bench, I would go through a few pilgrims to get back to him, allowing me to complete the Garb of the Pilgrim quest. As for the fight itself, the main difficulty for me was just the fact that he dealt 2 masks of damage, which left very little room for error. Why? You know what, I'll come back and fight that thing later. So grabbing my cocoon and running right away, I went back to exploring. And it turns out there was a room directly below the arena where there was a bench this whole time. So taking a look around, I decided to set this pilgrim feet. Never mind, they are cursed. Time to die. I would then move on to this little guy in the hopes they were more friendly. And so we're introduced to Grindel the Thief, around whom Hornet keeps her guard very much up. But it would be the upper part of Grindel's cell which lies something of greater interest. That being the straight pin, which was pretty much just a throwing knife. And it is here that I finally find out what those shell shards are actually used for. That is to replenish usable tools such as the straight pin. Now this actually opens up a big ol' can of worms as to the potential versatility of the combat in this game in comparison to the first one, and I am here for it. Now between the new weapon and the much closer respawn point, I figured I would continue to try my hand at that particular enemy. Ow. I've just been able to jump over that the whole time. I have been making this so much harder than I needed to. Ow. Oh, this was a mistake. That was a mistake. Yeah, if I wanted to beat this guy, I needed to learn the art of positioning. Why did I jump? Okay, there. Nope, that was bad. Okay, better. Better. Good. Excellent. Good. Finally. I am somebody who prefers to fill out the map that I have before I need to go get a new one. Oh, this is a new area. I decided to hold off on going forward for now, as there was more within the marrow to explore. So finding myself around the bottom right of the marrow, I find a new helmeted form of enemy. Now they're slightly tougher than what I've encountered thus far, but only slightly. So making my way back to the left, I find myself on the other side of that long passage, where I unlock a platform which will actually take me across said long passage. And since I was nearby anyway, I decided to head back to Bone Bottom so that I could actually turn in that pilgrim quest. With the reward money, I got the magnet brooch, which would cause Dropped Rosary to actually magnetize towards me instead of me having to go pick it up. However, the drawback here is that I would have to remove the compass in order to equip it, but that was fun, given that I was about to go into an area where I had no map, and thus nowhere for the compass to display my location. Except I noticed there was more of the Mosslands to explore, which led me to the Druid. The Druid tries to shoo off Hornet, but Hornet simply responds that she's just had to investigate whatever weird sounds were going on in here. And then wonders if the Moss Druid knows anything about the Weavers or the Weaver settlement, like right outside of their cave. Much to the Druid's confusion. The conversation then turns to the Druid's post on the quest board, asking if Hornet can pick up 3 special fruits. Thus beginning the berry picking quest, and I've actually got one of those fruits at the beginning of the game. And with that, I believe I've explored everything that I could, and so it's time to make my way to the brand new area. To the right of the marrow, I am met with a place with actual proper infrastructure, almost an industrial feel to it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Deep Docks. Not far from the entrance, I find an elevator which actually takes me up to a bench, although the bench's services do not come free. And then just ahead from that, I am once again met with Chakra, who provides me with a map to the Deep Docks. And I figured since I was here, I'd also get some vendor pins. Continuing forward, I was met with a gate that I had no way of opening, for in order to get to the lever, there was a jump that I could not make at this point. So I decided to explore downwards a little bit, where I would be met with a far more hostile environment. So after parkouring a little bit in this room where you'll get burned if you stand around for too long, I managed to procure half of a thread wheel, and should I find the other half, the maximum amount of silk that Hornet can have should increase. But shortly after exiting this room, I would once again meet my demise. But before taking the decently long trip to go get the cocoon, I decided to explore the general area around the bench. I then finally noticed that there was a Bill Beast station right here, although without the cocoon, I was flat broke. But on my way to go get the cocoon back, I would learn the true importance of the jump button. Ow! No! Gosh dang it. And there goes a decent chunk of money just gone forever. I noticed Chakra put a weird marking in the area above me, so I decided to go check it out. In this exploration, I would venture out of the heated, industrious Deep Docks and back out into nice, luscious greenery. I discovered another bench which required payment to unlock, and from there parkoured my way upwards, encountering a new enemy type, which appeared to be some kind of ant. And furthering my upwards exploration, I found that the ants had a mini challenge for me. Are these guys like the Mantis tribe? Are they like a tribe of warrior bugs? Who are these, ants? With the challenge beaten, I made my way downwards, where I was met with yet another remnant of the Weavers. Ooh. Daughter of a distant land, we who remain have waited long. Bind our strength to yours. Reclaim the future of our haunted kingdom. Oh! Oh wait, this is where the Weavers originally lived. Alright, so the Weavers originally lived here, and then later moved to Hollow Nest. Or moved to Deep Nest. Oh, now we're talking. Yahoo! With sprinting unlocked, I could now get around quicker and make longer jumps, which was great for getting that flea, which was in the top left corner of the very same room we got the dash ability in. And now I can also open that gate that I couldn't before. I am Speed!
How sad that the spider has fallen from its cage. So lost, so weak, poor little morsel. I can save you, little spider. All the trouble you'd face above, all the suffering, it's so simple. I'll just skewer you here and now, pluck that flickering life right out of you.
Danny Frank.
Your threats are worthless, child. If you are my foe, stir your voice and raise your blade. Delicious! I like you already.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, don't give me that laugh. So Lace is a boss that I would struggle with for a hot minute, in large part because of that dag nab parry. See, my instincts tell me to go for the attack as soon as the enemy has finished one of their attacks, because that's usually when they have some kind of opening, but Lace throws up her parry right as she finishes one of her attacks a lot of the time, causing me susceptible to get hit by them. This goes on for about 20 minutes or so until I figure out a technique that cheeses the absolute crap out of this boss. Pogo! Pogo! Aha! So that's how you get around the parry, is you pogo! 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 Ow! Pogo! 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 Hiya! Boink! Boink! Smack! Smack, smack, smack! Boink! 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 As soon as I learned how effective Pogo... Alrighty, now, I would like to know the significance of this. Sweet! I am running very low on shell. With Lace defeated, I made my way forward yet again into a place of greenery, but this is not moss, for we are now in the far fields. Except there's more of the deep docks that I need to explore, so I'm gonna do that first. Going deeper into the docks, I head to the right of the initial descent, where I am met with a mini-challenge. Oh, that's what these guys are! They're factory workers! Anyone else? With the challenge defeated, I went above the arena to find a bench and the Forge Daughter, who was still lucid enough to actually do proper business. Hornet would ask if the Forge Daughter was willing to make tools for her, as she was lacking in most of the stuff that she usually carries around. At first, the Forge Daughter denies Hornet, not really wanting to make weapons, but is ultimately convinced when Hornet promises a challenge in the making of said weapons. Make no mistake, the Forge Daughter still finds Hornet's ideas to be disturbing. Not that it matters, as I lack the financial security to procure any of these wares at this time. From there, I would explore the rest of the deep docks. I wouldn't really find anything worthy of note besides money. Thus, now I begin my trek into the far fields. I find these black onion guys everywhere, and while they are passive, I need shell shards in order to maintain my throwing knives. I run into more of these ant guys, but they give me a little more trouble than I would like, so I flee for now. This will be important later. I go into this area full of wind geysers, and following the battle rings in front of me, I once again run into Chakra, who was able to sell me a map of the area. I also got some more marker pins, because why the flip not? Anyways, I continue exploring, and while I'm looking for ways to get to places I haven't been yet, I die to flipping lava. And unfortunately, those ants that gave me trouble before are on the way back. Alright, that seems like a pretty good way to open a conflict. Why do I take these dumb risks? Now, with pretty much nothing left to lose, I am determined to show these ants what's what. Nope, running away now. So I decide to make my way here, largely because I don't think I have much choice, going past this big thing which I'm sure won't come back up later, and then dying to lava. After grabbing my cocoon and putting this little frick in the ground, I went up these platforms to enter the house of the seamstress. Rather than exchange introductions, the seamstress decides to comment that Hornet would make a fine prize in the eyes of the Citadel. On that, Hornet is inclined to agree, given that she was kidnapped and brought here against her will. The seamstress, having little appreciation for the Citadel, offers her services to Hornet, provided that Hornet can gather the necessary materials, saying that she needs the spines of this one particular bug in order to upgrade Hornet's cloak. Alright, doesn't seem that difficult of a task. So after getting these guys to release enough of their spines so that I could collect them, I was able to go back and get Hornet's cloak upgraded. Thus we acquire the Drifter's cloak. Oi! Eyes front, soldier! And with that, Hornet and the seamstress exchange farewells, and on our way out the door, the seamstress actually stops Hornet and asks if maybe Hornet might know exactly why the Citadel bugs are after her. To which Hornet suspects that maybe they want her for her silk, being a descendant of the weavers that used to live here. Now the reason she thinks this is because of the silk threads nigh identical to her own that are taking hold of the various inhabitants here and driving them nuts. And with that, we are now able to progress, being able to take hold of these air currents to ascend upwards, and then also use the cloak to slowly float down. Using this, I went to the right of the seamstress's house to enter what I now understand to be a secret room, which led me up a series of air currents, taking me to an air-based parkour course. Okay, maybe not a parkour course per se, more a puzzle room, and upon solving the puzzle room, I was able to procure myself a mask shard. Now, should I find 3 more of these, I'll be able to increase my maximum health by 1. After that, I made my way back to see what else I could explore with my new cloak. Hi! The 4th chorus. Now I'll be honest, compared to the previous boss fights, this guy was piss easy, provided that you pay attention to where you're standing. But if you can manage to do that, just keep whacking it in the head, it'll eventually go down. Smack! Smack! Yes! Victory is mine! After that, I was able to find a Bellbeast station. Oh, this is a bench.